All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We have some great announcement this morning, and we're glad that folks could gather to hear it. Before we get into the program of the folks that are actually in the room, we have a message from the mayor in China, so I want to play that now, so if we can get that up on the screen to begin the...
Good morning. I'm Mayor Mike Nutter. I want to thank all of you for participating in today's exciting education announcement. I'm very, very disappointed that I can't be with you in person today. I'm in China right now on a trade mission to promote investment in our great city. But I am certainly hoping to bring new businesses and new jobs to Philadelphia as a result of this trip. Our success as a city depends on having a qualified, skilled, well-educated workforce to fill those new positions. Today's announcement is about preparing Philadelphia students for the future. It's about investing in education, our schools, our principals, teachers, and our students. I'm very honored to announce that Philadelphia is one of 7 cities to receive a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The Philadelphia Great Schools Compact will receive a $2.5 million grant over 3 years from Gates. The grant will be used to develop an urban leadership academy for principals, a train-the-trainer teacher effectiveness program, and benchmark assessments aligned to the Common Core. You will hear more details about these programs shortly. Since December of 2011, the Great Schools Compact, a collaborative of the school district, charter, and Archdiocesan schools, has been working tirelessly to improve the quality of education all across the city of Philadelphia by ensuring best practices are implemented. I know that this investment will bring all of us one step closer to our goal of building a system of great schools for the benefit of every Philadelphia student. I want to commend the members of the Great Schools Compact Committee for their commitment to the young people of our city. Let me also thank our Chief Education Officer, Dr. Lori Schur, for convening leaders from across the education communities as the committee chair. Most importantly, I want to thank again the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, represented by Philadelphia's own Vicki Phillips, for its philanthropic support. To all of you, thank you so much.
See, we claimed you, Vicki, and I hope you don't mind. Great. So you can see, even in China, the guy's thinking about education. It's what he talked about in his first inaugural address. It's what he talked about in his second inaugural address. It's what he talks about every day, all day, understanding that if we don't get public education right, if we don't get education in general right in this city, we won't be able to compete with places like China and other parts of the world. So, and it's in part due to his great leadership that we've been able to raise the stakes around the importance of partnership across all of the schools that serve our almost 300,000 students. So I'd like to start by introducing the folks up here. We have a compact committee that was put together last year when we signed the Great Schools Compact. And so I chair that committee, and the folks that are here representing we have Scott Gordon from Mastery Schools, we have Casey Carter, CEO of Faith in the Future, Paul Klein from the School District of Philadelphia, we have Bishop Fitzgerald, who oversees education for the Archdiocese. We also have Naomi Booker, who is CEO of Global Leadership Academy Charter School. We have Michael Wilson. I'm sort of standing in front of you, Michael. I don't know how to. He's Special Assistant to Secretary Tomales from Pennsylvania Department of Education. Let's see who we got here. We have Larry, or Lawrence, as it says in my notes, Jones, who is the CEO of the Richard Allard Preparatory Charter School, but also president of the PA Coalition for Public Charter Schools. And, of course, Vicki Phillips, who we're going to be hearing from, our new superintendent, who we're going to be hearing from later as well, and Mark Gleason from Philadelphia Schools Partnership. And I want to give a special thank you to Mark Gleason, Miles Wilson. Miles, where are you? Miles Wilson, and the other folks from PSP for all of their hard work in supporting the compact. The actual work of collaboration and being productive through collaboration is actually real work. It's not just get everybody in the room and it happens, and PSP has provided high-quality staffing, a lot of research, a lot of capacity that we don't have in all of our sectors, so a big thank you to you all. And I want to personally actually thank everybody that's standing up here. We've had tough times here in the city, and I have yet to be disappointed by the folks that stand with me on this. It's difficult work, and personally, every one of them has risen to the occasion whenever we've had a difficult, something difficult to encounter, or something exciting, I should say. I want to give you a quick history. Don't worry, it's not going to be long and painful. It's going to be the good history kind. Not that there's bad history, but anyhow. Actually, a couple of years ago, we started to have cross-sector conversations. As the number of students who are in the different sectors started to grow, we started to have informal conversations between charter operators and the district, and later the Archdiocese. But initially it was, how can we as a city with so many different providers of K-12 education, how can we work together if we were to stop fighting each other and use that energy for something else? What could that look like? What could we learn from each other? How could we maybe even grow together in being better providers of education? And the central question became, was there enough common ground to hold all of us in the same place? You know, this area of urban public education is not without its political trauma. It's not without history. And it takes a certain amount of finding higher common ground to be able to get to the results you need to get to. And all the folks that you see standing here, and many people in the audience, had to every day figure out how to get to that common ground. So I'm happy to say the answer to the question of was there enough common ground to hold us turned out to be yes, and it turns out to be yes, I'd say most days of the year. But it is our responsibility, the folks that you see here, simply put, to ensure that all students, regardless of what type of school they attend, receive a high-quality education. And I want to say regardless, regardless, regardless. Regardless of what adults are doing, regardless of what's happening in different parts of the country, regardless of what's happening in Harrisburg today or tomorrow, in City Hall today or tomorrow, regardless of all of that, we have to keep focusing on that one central core thing. So we envision here in Philadelphia that every child will graduate from high school prepared to complete college or start a productive career, and that's what the Compact's here to accomplish. To date, operators of more than 90% of Philadelphia's 350-plus K-12 schools have signed on to the Compact. They've pledged to transform systems, to eliminate barriers to collaboration, to share information, best practices, resources, responsibility for success, and responsibility for failure. The goals of the Compact are pretty easy. Well, I wouldn't say easy. They're clear. They're tremendously difficult. Easy to understand, difficult to implement. And that is that our goal as a city is to reduce the number of low-performing seats by 50,000 across the city, across the sectors. And to do that, we have to increase high-performing seats, but we also have to invest in the schools that are struggling to meet the needs of our students. So a couple of the accomplishments that have happened in this area. Last year, the School Reform Commission, guided by the principles of the Compact, added 2,000 seats in their high-performing district schools this year. And in partnership with the charter community, expanded high-quality charter schools to serve approximately 5,000 additional students over the next 5 years. The Archdiocese is also acting to make its 70 city schools more sustainable, including creative governance and funding models, and we look forward to continued partnership there. Additionally, at the Compact table, we have truly created a venue in which different operators are collaborating on long-term and short-term goals. The work of the Compact Committee includes sort of systemic projects such as universal enrollment, accountability measures, talent development, facility sharing, and shared services, and also includes an emerging set of skills that we're developing, just-in-time communications on issues that matter to everybody at the table, from charter legislation to even this summer when we had Superstorm Sandy, how those, the different operators could work together to prepare for that. So we're taking the first steps in setting up a common enrollment system for the 13-14 school year, and have also supported the launch of Great Philly Schools, which is a new website, a comprehensive website that helps parents compare schools of all types across the city. Now, just very briefly about the grant. For a long time, big national education foundations have bypassed Philadelphia, at least in part, because our education and philanthropic communities haven't been aligned around a common goal and strategy. This announcement and investment demonstrates that's no longer the case. This support from the Gates Foundation will allow us to build on our achievements over the last couple of years and continue to expand high-performing schools, turn around struggling schools, and increase our ability to prepare all students for college and work. This investment will allow us to deepen our collaboration in the 3 areas the mayor outlined, we're really looking to build a strong pipeline of urban school leaders, principals, and others through an urban leadership academy that principals and others from all of the sectors can participate in. A teacher effectiveness program that will help us to continue to develop highly effective teachers, which is the foundation of any great school. And also to develop the benchmark assessments aligned to the Common Core that will help us ensure that every student in Philadelphia is prepared for the rigors of higher education in the workforce. All three systems will benefit from this initiative in order to better serve our families throughout the city. Equally important is that all three systems will help design and drive the progress. These initiatives are truly about sharing best practices and getting better results for kids. So this city is, I'm going to conclude here with we're in a historic building. I was actually just taking people over to see Conversation Hall, and we're here in Reception Hall, and we have literally all the mayors through time and history kind of looking at us at this point, as they do every time we're in this room. And I wanted to take a moment to just say, as a city, we're not new or newcomers to the tough work of collaboration, even on a really big scale. The city was founded on William Penn's belief in consensus building, which we all work with every day, and for tolerance of differences. This city is also where 13 sovereign colonies and the states struggled to figure out how common ground could be found and how they, as states, could work together in a phrase they used as perpetual unity. And I think if you want to look at some, go back and look at the articles. You went from the Articles of the Confederation to the Federalist Papers to eventually the U.S. Constitution. It took a long time to do that, but it was really about how do people who see themselves as sovereign, separate LEAs, if you will, how do they work together for the greater good? And as it turns out, there's a lot to be said for this idea of perpetual unity, and it's stayed here for 230 years. It's not easy to create, but it seems it's fairly long-lasting. And if well done, it can serve the people of the city. So, it's a little lofty way to end this. We're not ending, but for me to end my piece. But I honestly think that we're at a place where we're really shifting the way that we're doing education. And the hard work of moving together is what we have in front of us. And to be transparent and to be committed to the end of the day that kids can go to schools we'd all be proud to send our kids to. So with that, I would really like to, and I'm thrilled actually, to introduce Vicki Phillips. And as you saw, the mayor claimed her as one of our own. Many of you remember her from when she was here, how many years ago, Vicki?
More than a decade.
More than a decade ago. I had the privilege of working for her up at the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and she's now at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So, Vicki, if you could come to the podium.
Thank you. Good morning. As a foundation, we've seen both districts and charter schools across the country beat the odds for kids. But we've also watched tensions rise and that ability to collaborate be very, very tough to find. And the original intent of charters, which was really to incubate innovative practice and help spread it, not be as widespread as we would sometimes hoped. And we've also saw the important improvements in districts and the lessons that districts have learned. And the strategies that they've undertaken that have worked for kids also not come in the other direction toward charters. So a few years ago, as we saw some really great leaders, some of those are in this room, struggle to really find ways to come together, we wanted to find some ways to help. And so we started funding a few cities across the country to come together in that productive struggle around collaboration and, as Lori said, making sure that all kids get an opportunity to a great education no matter what kind of school they attend. And in those 16 cities, we found amazing opportunities happening between charters and districts. And I want to give a huge shout out to the mayors of those cities in particular, including your own mayor here in Philadelphia, who's given such leadership to that work. And now we're here in Philadelphia talking about how we deepen the collaboration in some of those places. And so delighted that Philadelphia joined 7 other cities today in additional grants. As you heard the mayor say, we'll be adding another $2.5 million into this collaboration in Philadelphia alongside the cities of Boston, Denver, Hartford, New Orleans, New York City, and Spring Branch, Texas. And I just want to shout out for a moment, in addition to the mayor, some of the other leaders that are in this room, because the superintendent of Spring Branch is here, as are some of our great partners at New Visions and out of Denver. And I hope you get an opportunity this morning to talk to them for a moment, because they have been at the forefront of making a lot of this work happen, as has your great superintendent here, Bill Hite. This whole work is about how we share effective practice, with an anchor in how we make sure that teachers across this country are their most effective, because we know that that's the cornerstone of great improvement in schools. And the goal of college readiness for every kid, again, making sure that no matter where kids sit and what kind of school, that happens for them. Philadelphia is one of the largest school districts in the nation, and nearly 1 in 4 students attend a public charter. Like many, Philadelphia is working so hard to boost student achievement while managing some real fiscal crises. But as the mayor said, you're investing every single day in this city's future and in the next generation of leaders for this city. And that's what makes this kind of collaboration so critical and important. And charter and district school leaders and teachers. So it's not just the leaders in these places that are coming together, it's the teachers that are joining forces. And here in particular in Philadelphia, where Superintendent Hite, Mayor Nutter, the Archdiocese, and lots of community partners are working dramatically to increase the number of students that get that opportunity to attend a high-performing school, whether it's a charter or whether it's a district. And as you heard Lori and the mayor say, Philadelphia will use its grant to ensure collaboration in some incredibly important areas, not the least of which is the implementation of those Common Core standards across the country that are so important to the achievement of our students and their success once they leave high school, to integrate technology into the classroom, to train school leaders and teachers, to develop the kind of supports that teachers and students need to be successful every time they step in the classroom, and to move us forward as a city and as a country in more innovative ways to use technology and other tools to deliver instruction. Many of Philadelphia's schools already have different kinds of management and leadership going on, and you are no stranger to any of that. And we think that you have an opportunity here to set such an important example for the rest of the country, and that there are things you're going to see happen from the principal residency program, where Mastery Charter Schools is working with the district to create, where you will start to see school turnaround in even more important and dramatic ways than in the past, to the work that the Archdiocese is doing to help make data more transparent and to join in making sure that we know where every school and every single student stands. I couldn't be prouder to be standing in Philly today. I started my time in Pennsylvania, which I spent 10 years here, in Philadelphia, working with the business community and with the school district. And I've watched this city struggle consistently to really improve education for their kids, and to do one thing that is the most important, and that is never, ever, ever give up that productive struggle, but to keep on climbing. And we are so important to help you on the next leg of your journey. So excited, and think it is so important what you're undertaking.
Thank you, Vicki, and thanks to the Gates Foundation for your faith in the work that we're doing here. And next, I'd like to bring to the podium Dr. William Hite, our new superintendent. How many more months do I get to say new, Bill?
I don't think you get to say it anymore now.
No, it's all over. So, you know, we have 145,000 kids in district-managed schools that you're overlooking. So if you could come to the podium and say a few words.
Thank you. Good morning. We are thankful for this opportunity to work with all of our partners to make sure that all of our students receive a high quality and very highly effective education in a safe learning environment. And special thanks to both the mayor, to Dr. Shore for your leadership, also to other individuals, and to Chair Ramos, Pedro Ramos, who is the chair of our SRC. I don't think he's here right now, but I want to thank him for his leadership, as well as Larry Jones, and the work that you do, particularly as a representative of the charter school community, the Archdiocese, for your commitment to our students, our community, and to all of the individuals here for the collaboration. Special thanks to the Bill Melinda Gates Foundation for the work that you're doing here and for the confidence that you have that we, all of us, collectively can figure this out. And the figure out part is not about how do we educate, it's actually how do we work together in order to provide all students with a high-quality education. And we're thrilled to be here in Philadelphia having those conversations. The school district is committing to developing strong leaders for our schools. And one of the realizations as we talk about developing strong leadership is that that work cannot be done in a silo. So the Archdiocese cannot be developing leaders for their schools, and the charter community then developing leaders for their schools, and then the district developing leaders for their schools, and then we're all in competition. It's really how do we come together to think about that as a more strategic process so that the outcome is that all students have a highly effective leader in front of their schools. One of the first steps into creating a high-quality seat for all students. So we have a lot to gain through this collaboration, and we also have much that we feel we can contribute. Feel like we have great teachers and leaders across this district. And inasmuch as we've added over 2,000 seats to the high-functioning schools as part of this larger effort to ensure that every student has the opportunity to attend a high-quality school. We're looking forward to both contributing to and learning from our charter and private school partners in this effort. And to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, it is my commitment to do everything that we can to become the model to which everyone else looks to see how this is done. So with that, thank you.
And I should say the last time, maybe not the exact last time we were here, we were announcing a major contribution to education, too, from the Middleton family around CTE. And our First Lady, Lisa Nutter, is here. She was a big part of that. So I wanted to recognize Lisa, the work she does every day in the city. As well, I see Dan Fitzpatrick back there from the chamber. So thank you both for being here this morning. Next, and I get to still call you new, right, is Samuel Casey Carter, who's the Chief Executive Officer for Faith in the Future Foundation. He is definitely new. I still get to do that. So he's going to come and talk about why the Archdiocese is involved in this and what the compact means. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Like Bill, I'd like to use my time here at the podium just to thank some individuals that brought us here today together to bring one number to your attention and then just to speak to the work ahead. I'd like to thank not only Mayor Nutter, a proud graduate of the Catholic school system, not only Vicki from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which give us the efficient cause to be here, but Don Shalvey, from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, a proud graduate of West Catholic, also here in Philadelphia. The one number that I want to bring to your attention is the number 14,000. Of all of the high school children today, 14,219 being educated by the Archdiocese, not just in the city of Philadelphia, but in the surrounding 5 counties. They could have another 14,000 children sitting next to them today in some of the highest performing seats in our area. We don't have a quality issue, we do have an affordability issue. And I'm so grateful to the Gates Foundation, so grateful to Bill Hite, so grateful to Mark Gleason, and to everybody who's making a real tri-sector compact possible for the first time in this country in Philadelphia. And Archbishop Fitzgerald, who represents Archbishop Chaput, if it weren't for the leadership of the Archdiocese to say that we want to join with local public schools and we want to join with public charter schools to provide the highest quality education for every child in the city, if it weren't for that leadership, this work would not be able to get done. And in order for it to happen, as a former charter school management operator, as a school choice advocate, as somebody who's done this work in 37 states, I want to see it here happen for the first time, that public, private, and parochial schools work together to provide the very, very best education, because every child in the world deserves it. And as Jefferson says, if we're not educated, we will not be free. And so thank you so much to the Gates Foundation for investing your trust in us. We will not let you down. And from the Archdiocese, we've got a big row to hoe, but we will get you the information that you all need on your standards to know that we are providing not just the best education possible, but we want to lead on this issue. And we're really, really looking forward, in all humility, to doing that with you. Thank you.
Great. And next, our good partner, Larry Jones, president of the Pennsylvania Coalition of Public Charter Schools, and also CEO of one of our charter schools here in Philadelphia, Richard Allen Preparatory Charter. Larry, if you can come to the podium.
Morning. I would first like to thank the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for their investment in the city of Philadelphia, their investment in our communities, and their investment in our children, but most importantly, their investment of trust into the providers of educational services, trust that we will be able to put aside our sectors and look instead to the outcomes of making sure that every child has a high-quality education. When we talk about finding common ground, it's, to me, very simple. Because right now, at this very moment, in a traditional public school classroom, in a charter public school classroom, in a diocesan school classroom, a private school classroom, there are children. And they are children, and they are doing one simple thing, working their hardest to ensure that their education will provide them opportunities, choices, and a bright future. And that is the common goal. We must be aware that this is a historic moment. It's a moment where we are putting aside the sectors that we come from, and we are looking to one specific outcome, and that is education in the city of Philadelphia. It drives the economic development and the economic progress and sustainability of the city, but more specifically, education is responsible for the cultural and social well-being of each and every one of our neighborhoods, and that is so vitally important in the days and times that we live in. When I look to the members of the Compact, we want to thank all of them, Dr. Haidt, Mark Gleason, our fellow Compact members from the charter school community, Mayor Nutter, Dr. Shore. There are so many people to thank, but this work is difficult. And one of the things that we need to put out and be very clear about is that at times, this work may become messy, but that's when trust and accountability come together. Because it's when we can sit down and have open, honest discussions about the difficult problems, that is when we begin to find true solutions. So in closing, I want to thank everyone. I look at our challenge of the work we have ahead. It is lofty. It's going to be fun. It's going to be messy. It's going to be difficult. But I also want to make sure that we put the challenge out to the community, to all of the stakeholders, to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to keep looking at what we're doing. Because we want everyone to come back and see the tremendous work that we will do. It's not just our job. It's for all of us. So I thank you, thank the Gates Foundation. Have a lovely day. I appreciate your time.
It's great to have such wonderful charter school leaders, and joining us a tad bit late, but here nonetheless is Dave Rossi, CEO of Nueva Esperanza, who has been such an invaluable part of the Compact Committee as well. And I should say at the beginning, I didn't say that both Pedro Ramos and Joe Doretsky from the SRC are part of the Compact Committee. They couldn't be here today, but I wanted folks not to forget we had that level of leadership on that committee as well. Our one last speaker is, I'd like to invite Michael Wilson up from, he's Special Assistant to Secretary Tomales, and for a couple of words from the Secretary.
Thank you. I will be brief and direct with a message that may even fit into 140 characters or less. I represent the Department of Education and Secretary Tomales on the Compact Committee. I want to say that we are very, very excited that the City of Philadelphia was selected, and just ecstatic that it's all due to the collaborative effort between both traditional and non-traditional public education institutions. So I thank everybody on the Compact Committee, and I thank the Gates Foundation. It's been fantastic to observe this process.
All right, so that takes care of all of our speakers, and we can open it up now for question and answers if there are questions. Kristen?
Could you be a little more specific about some of the nuts and bolts of what is the pipeline for urban school leaders? Who does that? What does it look like?
Yeah, and I'm going to give folks from the whole committee an opportunity to answer questions. So I can start out. Mark, if you want to also chime in, or one of the other folks. Is fine with me. So we're looking to build a pipeline that folks from the different sectors could participate in. The idea is to spin off a certain amount of print. This is where, like, my knowledge is without notes is going to come to an end. We're going to spin off a certain amount of principals per year. So Mark, do you have the numbers on that and a little bit more of the detail?
We have a working group that was the Compact Committee delegated to a working group to lead this project. The working group includes leaders from all three sectors, private, traditional public, and charter. And we will be partnering with a national consulting organization. We're in the process of selecting one now that will be our partner in developing a curriculum and a structure for a program. But the crux of the program will be a residency, a full year-long residency. So an aspiring principal would be in a school, and that school could be in any one of the sectors for a full year with a mentor as a principal. So the aspiring candidate will be in an assistant principal role, learning to be a principal, and there'll be some night and weekend curriculum that's wrapped around that. At the end of the year, a successful candidate will be able to get certification in the state of Pennsylvania as a principal, as well as be fully qualified to do that job in an urban school. That's the vision. The goal is within 3 years to have as many as 50 candidates a year coming out of the program. We will start in the first year with about 15 candidates, and that would be next summer would be the start of the first year.
Mark, who decides which of those assistant principals gets to take part in this program?
Well, that still has to be developed. So between now and the summer, in partnership with the consulting institution, we'll be developing the exact structure. But the basic vision is that any school in any of the sectors would identify folks who they think have the capacity to be strong leaders and suggest to them to apply to the program. So there'll be applicants, and then there'll be a process by which those applicants are evaluated and then chosen for the program. You want me to?
Maybe we can have somebody else from the Compact answer, so we can.
Dave's on that working group. Oh, you're not? Naomi's on it. Yeah, sure.
Good morning. The Common Enrollment Group is a process to help all of the parents have the opportunity to enroll at one time at one place in the city, so that they will be allowed to see great schools and then look on to the internet and then be able to pick the schools. And then the process would be such that they would go through the internet. The technology piece would go through and make selections, and I guess somewhat like what they do for medical schools, and their selections would come up, and then they would be able to go to their schools. And the purpose is really to try, because presently all the schools have different times of enrollment, and it just gets very convoluted. And so now if we can do one way, one place, then parents will be able to have the best opportunities for all of the schools in the city.
I just want to add that we have Chris Gibbons here from Denver, and Denver is a city that has adopted a universal enrollment program like this and is now going into its second year of operating that program and has seen some really positive reaction. And I think every school in Denver is participating at this point. Every public school is participating, charter and district both. So that's one of our models as we set up a program like that here in Philly.
May I ask Scott Mike how much the train the teacher program will be expanded?
Sure. So first of all, one of the assumptions that we all share is a great school means a great teacher in every single classroom. And we've been working for a number of years, and most recently with the support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to develop a teacher effectiveness model, which essentially is describing what good teaching is, and then providing the resources and support to teachers and administrators to make sure every teacher can rise to that standard. So it includes instructional guidebooks, videos, coaches, training of coaches and administrators, uses of technology so that teachers can quickly learn those skills. We're really excited to be here and excited to share with the school district and with other charter schools and hopefully the Archdiocese as well. We have up till now actually done institutes, which were 3-day essentially sessions so that folks could learn this model. Going forward through the compact and through this grant, we're going to be able to work more closely both with the charter and with the district so that we can train the trainer and have the model be distributed more broadly and have each of the partners here modify the model to work for their setting. I would say the last thing that's really aligned, I think, in the compact, perhaps most exciting, is the nation has a challenge in the Common Core, which is really the short message is all students are going to be college ready. And that means we have to increase the rigor that goes on in our classrooms by a very significant amount. So the other thing that we're really excited about is doing the work of developing the training so teachers can meet that standard, which I think you're going to be hearing a lot about over the next several years. So we're excited to do that work with our partners. Let's see. There is a number in the grant which I don't recall off the top of my head. I believe we are going to be working with initially 30 sort of train the trainer, so 30 folks who will then be coaching. I would say our coaches typically work with 10 to 15 folks, so we're talking about hundreds of teachers. I don't know if there's a specific number.
The grant doesn't have a specific number of teachers, but it does have 30 as the specific number of coaches in the first year, and then it ramps up in the second year.
Right. So the intent is large impact and systemic change.
Can you talk a little bit about how many finalists there were for this grant and what stood out to the foundation about Philadelphia?
So we actually made the RFP open to all of the compact cities, and there are 16 of those across the country. And when we initially started the compacts, we sort of set this up, that we would give all the initial compact cities a beginning grant around collaboration and then start to deepen the work in a few select of those. I think in, Philadelphia just has such a long history of pressing for improvement, even in the face of fiscal, political, and other kinds of challenges. So we always admire places that have the kind of courage. Leadership stood out here. The fact that the mayor, the superintendent, the community leaders that are coming together, the fact that all three sectors wanted to come together and do this, which gave us a unique and, as was said, a historic opportunity. And then, most importantly, the quality of the proposal itself and what the leaders here are anticipating to do in terms of outcomes. As a foundation, you might imagine we are very evidence and results based, and we were looking for proposals that could impact the most significant number of students and result in a much higher degree of effectiveness among teachers, leaders, and all to the benefit of greater student outcomes. So the quality of the proposal, the kinds of details around what would occur here, and the specificity of the outcomes that people were expecting to achieve, along with the courage of and leadership.
Were there other compact cities where the Catholic school system is involved in compact?
I think Philadelphia and one other place are unique in that regard.
One more. Any more questions? We can take one more. Okay, great. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your work. Couldn't be prouder to stand with each one of you this morning. So thank you.